So, you finally made the decision that you're going to kickstart your career in project management. Now, how exactly are you going to do that? Well, I suggest getting yourself PRINCE2 Certified, as I believe it's one of the few certifications that can really help you gain the knowledge and skills required to be successful in a project management role. Now, when you start on your PRINCE2 journey, you are going to have a teacher in a classroom go through everything with you, and you're just going to breeze through both the foundation and practitioner exams and nothing's going to stop you, right? Wrong. What most people fail to look out for at the start of their PM journey is the incredibly expensive costs that are associated with getting certified. It can set you back up to £3,000 to sit a 5-day PRINCE2 course. Now, when I was getting certified, I wasn't willing to pay that much. In fact, I'm still not willing to pay that much. So in this video today, I'm going to tell you guys exactly what I did to pass and get certified at just a fraction of the price. The first thing that I did was completely remove the idea from my mind that I would be taught PRINCE2 by a teacher in a classroom. All it took was one look at the price and my decision was pretty much made for me. I mean, £3,474 is a lot of money. How can you justify paying that much for a 5-day course, especially so early on in your career? You simply can't. So unless your work is funding your studies, stay away from the classroom courses. They simply make no financial sense. So what was I going to do? After all, I had set my sights on passing PRINCE2 to help progress with my career. Well, there are a few alternatives. The first one that I considered was to take the online teaching option as opposed to the classroom-based learning. This reduced the price to £1,989, but even then, I was just getting frustrated at the thought of having to pay someone that much money when I could just learn it all myself at a fraction of the cost. So after looking at the cost of the classroom and online-based learning, I made the decision that I was going to try the self-study option. After all, how hard could it really be, right? Well, on the journey of self-study, the first stop that I made was to go to Udemy. Now, Udemy is actually pretty decent. I find it especially useful in the past when I've been doing my IT certifications, but as I was browsing the PRINCE2 courses that were on offer, none of them really stood out to me. So I went to YouTube and started watching some of the free videos by people like Jerry Steinauer and Frank Turley. And while the videos were useful, I was struggling to really get to grips with what was being taught. Now, I was finding this really frustrating as by this stage in my life, I had already completed my master's in project management, so I wasn't going into this with no knowledge or experience at all. After watching a few videos and not really having much of a clue about what was going on, I decided that I needed to try something different. Now, in PRINCE2, you have the foundation exam and the practitioner exam, and you need to pass the foundation exam to sit the practitioner one. So I decided to just focus on the foundation exam first to really get to grip with the PRINCE2 methodology. I researched the best ways to prepare for the exam and came across a book called PRINCE2 for Beginners by Brian Mathis on Amazon. Now, as a software developer, the idea of buying a book to study was actually a pretty foreign concept to me at the time. After all, you can't learn to code by reading books. In fact, every resource that I used to study in the last 10 years was all online, but it was just £6. So I thought, why not? Let me just buy it and see how it goes. Well, the book arrived and I started reading it, and let me tell you that this single book was easily the biggest reason why I was able to pass the foundation exam. The way the processes and the themes are explained is brilliant, and there's little portions at the end of each section that tell you what to look out for when sitting the exam. Reading this book really helped to develop my confidence in PRINCE2. There's even a practice exam at the end that helps bring it all together. So after spending a week reading through the book and really getting to grips with everything, I felt confident enough to book the exam. Now, what I would recommend doing is booking your exam as far out in advance as you can. Don't feel the need to rush and pass as quickly as possible, and give yourself extra time to prepare. After all, it's a marathon, not a sprint. It's also important to understand that when booking your exam, there are no waiting times, so you can just sit it the next day if you really want to. It cost me £498 to sit the foundation exam. I also paid £498 to sit the practitioner exam. So all in all, I spent just under £1,000 to get PRINCE2 certified. That's £1,000 less than if I took the online tutoring route, and £2,500 cheaper than if I opted for the classroom-based learning instead. Now, when you go for the exam-only option, you get 7 days of access to the PRINCE2 course by the learning provider, as well as a few extra past papers as well. I found this incredibly useful as I went through the course to give me a quick refresher, and then I really started to hammer out the practice papers to give myself the best chance to pass. Now, many people are against using exam dumps to pass exams. I believe that they can be a useful tool at the end of your studies for an exam, as they can really boost your chances of passing. I didn't need to go out and find more exam papers as I had the one in the book and a few given by the learning provider, but I did go over them countless times so that when I would sit the exam, I would pass first time. Now, before you sit the exam, you will have the option to pay £90 extra for a resit, just in case you fail. I didn't go for that as I felt I had prepared as best as I could and I wanted to save the extra money. For the practitioner exam, I did have to buy the handbook and spend a lot of time reading it. I managed to pick that up for £40 online, and you do need that to sit the practitioner exam as it's open book and you have to refer to the manual for all of the questions. I found studying for the practitioner a lot easier than the foundation, as I was more familiar with the methodology and the context in which everything applies. So overall, would I recommend self-studying for PRINCE2? The answer is 100% yes. For me, the savings were huge. It would cost 2 or 3.5 times as much to be taught it, and that requires a pretty large upfront investment that can be far better used somewhere else. It does take longer. I can't imagine ever being able to pass in 5 days studying on my own, but I wasn't in any rush to pass. I didn't have a deadline, so I took my time and prepared extra so that when it came to exam time, it was just a formality. If you're looking to do PRINCE2 in the future, do consider just studying for it yourself, as it isn't hard, the exams are multiple choice, and they have very generous pass marks. You can then use that money saved to fund other courses such as the CAPM or the PMQ. Doing this would be more beneficial for your career in the long run. Thank you guys for watching. If you have found this video useful, please leave a like, hit subscribe, and I will see you all next time.